If you spend any time in tech forums, productivity groups, or enthusiast communities today, you might stumble upon a surprising sight. People showing off smartphones with physical sliding keyboards, not virtual keyboards, not foldable screens. Actual tactile keys hiding underneath the display, just like the iconic phones of the late 2000s. And while the mainstream US smartphone market is dominated by slick slabs of glass, sliding keyboard phones are quietly making a comeback, especially in certain niche markets where typing speed, durability, and multitasking still matter. This revival isn't about nostalgia, it's about function, identity, and a growing desire for alternatives in a world of look-alike devices. The comeback begins with a major shift in how certain users approach productivity. For many professionals, especially writers, coders, field technicians, logistics workers, and heavy communicators, touchscreen typing still isn't enough. It's fast but not always accurate. It's convenient but not tactile. Sliding keyboard smartphones give these users something they've missed for years: precise physical keys that allow blind typing, vertical grip stability, and faster bursts of text. These phones let people write emails, edit documents, and send long messages in a way that feels more like using a tiny laptop than a phone. In a world where most phones feel identical, this difference means everything. Another major reason sliding keyboard phones are returning is the rise of digital minimalism. Many Americans are stepping back from distraction-heavy smartphone habits. They're replacing endless app scrolling with devices built for focus. Sliding keyboard smartphones often run stripped-down operating systems or emphasize productivity tools over social media apps. For users who want a phone that helps them work instead of distracting them, the keyboard phone becomes a deliberate choice, a tool, not a toy. They're customizable, hackable, and built with intention. In these circles, sliding keyboard phones represent freedom and individuality. Physical durability is another major factor. In jobs where gloves, dirt, rain, or extreme environments are common, touchscreens aren't always reliable. Construction workers, warehouse staff, and field engineers often struggle with touchscreen responsiveness. A physical keyboard adds certainty, you know the press registered, and sliding keyboard phones are usually built with rugged frames and extra protection, making them practical for harsh conditions. It's not about novelty for these users, it's about reliability. The resurgence is also tied to the decline of smartphone variety. For years, the US market has shifted toward fewer unique form factors. Phones are starting to look the same, glass rectangles with similar cameras and similar features. Sliding keyboard smartphones appeal to people who want something different. They stand out. They spark conversations. They let users feel connected to a device in a way that modern phones rarely do. In an era of uniformity, standing out has value. Productivity apps and messaging platforms are also pushing demand. Writers use sliding keyboards to draft entire blog posts or scripts on the go. Field workers use them to input data quickly. Customer service teams use them to manage chat systems with accuracy. And professionals in logistics, transportation, and dispatch rely heavily on rapid text entry. A physical keyboard removes the friction that slows down high-volume communication on touchscreens. Battery life plays a role too. Sliding keyboard phones often use smaller screens or run optimized software, which drastically improves battery efficiency. Some models even have hot swappable batteries, something the mainstream market abandoned years ago. For people working long shifts, traveling frequently, or living in rural areas with limited charging access, this makes sliding keyboard phones extremely appealing. Another surprising factor behind this trend is generational curiosity. Younger users, especially teens and young adults, never grew up with keyboard phones. To them, sliding keyboards feel fresh, quirky, and different. Social media videos featuring retro-style slider phones regularly go viral. What older generations see as a throwback, younger users see as new and interesting. This cross-generational blend of nostalgia and novelty is boosting demand among niche groups. Privacy concerns also fuel interest in these phones. Some sliding keyboard models prioritize privacy-first software, minimal tracking, and straightforward offline functionality. Users who want to reduce data collection or limit their digital footprint often choose sliding keyboard alternatives because they represent a break from mainstream surveillance-heavy ecosystems. The return of long-form communication is yet another influence. As newsletters, mobile blogging, journaling apps, and digital storytelling grow in popularity, more people want devices they can type on comfortably. The tactile feedback of physical keys makes writing feel intentional and satisfying, far more so than tapping on glass. Writers say it helps them think better. Professionals say it speeds up response times. Students say it helps them study without distractions. Accessory ecosystems are growing around these devices too. Magnetic keyboards, modular backs, battery packs, tripod mounts, and productivity tools are being designed specifically for sliding keyboard phones. As more accessories appear, the devices become even more practical for niche users who want a hybrid phone plus mini computer experience. There's also a cultural element at play. Sliding keyboard phones signal personality. They say something about the user's priorities: practicality over trends, function over fashion, individuality over conformity. In tech culture, that matters. People want devices that reflect who they are, not just what the market offers. Finally, the comeback is driven by a simple truth: smartphones no longer excite people. The mainstream market feels stagnant. When a form factor like sliding keyboards returns, even in small pockets, it sparks curiosity, nostalgia, and excitement. These devices remind users that phones can still be fun, imaginative, and different. In the end, the resurgence of sliding keyboard smartphones in the US isn't about replacing mainstream devices. It's about serving niche groups who want more precision, more durability, more customization, more personality, and more control. These phones fill gaps that modern touch-only smartphones don't address. They don't just bring back an old design. They bring back a way of using phones that feels intentional, tactile, and focused, something many Americans have been missing in the touchscreen era. And as long as there are users who crave that experience, sliding keyboard smartphones will continue carving out their own unique corner of the US tech market.